Thank you so much. How are you holding up? I must admire your endurance. This can only happen in Singapore, I can tell you. If this was US, there would be two guys, maybe one and a half, one sleeping. So you're a strong nation, and also I want to thank all our foreign guests. Okay, I'll make it good news. I'll make it very painless, very quick. So give me 2 minutes, and I'll make sure that we can get out of here. So first of all, I got during the day a lot of questions from academic institutions. Why should we implement this? Boil it down to like 5, 10 things. Don't make it complicated. So I'll try to. Unfortunately, I like KISS. Keep it simple. There's a stupid in the end there, so that applies to me. So, okay. First of all, very simple. There's 3 things you can do. You can make things happen, or you can understand what happens, or you can be in the group of what happened now. You don't want to be in the third group. Okay. So don't procrastinate. Be a leader. 2, innovate. We have to transform education. I'm not saying you need necessarily to do augmented virtual reality, but you have to change. And change is change. There was Professor Bertil Andersson used to say, it's painful, it's not fun, but you have to do it. Students love it. That's just a fact. I've been in this business 20 years. I've seen from kids this big to older, lifelong learning that they love. We are beings that like to experiment. We're a kid, you like to take earth, put it in mouth, taste, it doesn't taste so well. You like to learn by doing, whether it's killing the mammoth or learning about quantum entanglement in physics. It works. I showed you that picture. That's a real picture of our brain. The brain reacts. We learn faster, we remember longer, and we can make better decisions by using experiential learning. New intellectual property and research. That's, I think, one of the top areas that universities such as NTU, you've done a tremendous journey. From being 86 in the world to being 11, you have a pool of IP and knowledge that you can encapsulate in this new format and disseminate. Within, first drink your own champagne, benefit yourself from it, but also share. I also think it's a matter of scale, right? How do we scale online? How can we make online learning exciting, right? I think this experiential learning can provide us a solution, one component. It's not the only component, one component towards that. And I know in the US, many universities will face really tough challenges unless they scale, lower their cost structure, and expand that part. I also think there's no way, you have $1 billion budget here at NTU, you're very luxurious. Not many universities, they can dream about the budget, but you cannot afford coping with the change in Industry 4.0. If you are to buy all the MRI devices, that's $12 million per piece. Engines, equipment, can't cope with that. So virtual reality is bottom line. I'm from Sweden, so I think IKEA, Volvo, frugal solutions to actually be able to interact and have virtual labs. I think that's a big one. Someone was talking about, I talked about AI today and how we link with AI, but I actually missed the big point. The big point is bandwidth. For us to conquer the machines and stand on their shoulders like giants versus be subjugated, it's a bandwidth question. So the bandwidth today is 18 seconds. That's how long time it takes between you and your virtual part of your brain, right? Because you have 60% of a lot of information in that device. So how can we go that 18 seconds to 3 seconds? We need to go from speed of thumb to speed of sight. And actually, it can provide you that bridge to artificial intelligence by using AVR technology. Someone talked about customized learning. I think that's a key thing. And I think the technology can help in that context. And many have talked about lifelong learning. You will never stop learning. Be just used to it. If you're 50-something and you think, I have my pension coming around the corner, I'm financially safe, and I don't have to learn much more, you are totally wrong. Because even if you have the money, you will be rendered useless. You will be a relic for the rest of your life if you don't participate. And your lifespan will be second in the 80s and 90s. Last one, leapfrog. That's very important. That's my last point. there is a chance to leapfrog. And Singapore, where I'm standing here, I was here in 1986, and I was at airport, and the only transport way to get was a guy on, I don't know what you call those things. Instead of a horse, there's a human that drags you. Yeah, that was it. And there was a guy that was 75, and I realized after 10 minutes, there's no way I can get to a hotel with this guy. Look at what's Singapore today. It's a jewel. And that's because you value, and they didn't follow the path. They leapfrogged. And now to someone's question, will university exist? And I can say, for sure, yes. And I'll use just a little bit of a ridiculous example, but I have to do it on a fun tone. I remember my university time. I had fantastic time. It was the best time of my life. I made friends. I met some interesting girlfriends. We had fun. There was a community. I really look back to that. Imagine the alternative. Sitting home alone by the kitchen, hooked up to some strange devices and getting knowledge injections. No way. That's not my future. So with that, I'd like to thank you so much for your patience, for your feedback. And I think this is just the start of the conversation. And for you tomorrow that join our workshop, that's when we're going to walk the talk. Okay, thank you so much. Have a great evening and good night. Thank you.